The GoodBye series, Say Goodbye to Toxic Binds. This video we will get more specific about how you create the life that you desire. No, we won't tell you to traipse into a high-end bar with a $3,000 dress you can't yet afford and flirt with well-off married men. And no, you don't have to get longer eyelashes, hair, bleach your skin, or do any such thing. Here's the secret. You never had to do any of that time-wasting foolishness. Life success, or the lack thereof, is an energy exchange. You don't have to change religions and howl to the moon with the witches or dance a holy dance in front of the pastor on Sundays. There is a natural law that was created by the creator of this universe. This creator made laws that govern this universe. You can call them he or she, God or goddess. It doesn't matter to me or this channel, and it does not have to matter to you. The real reason why some evil people get away with things is they know the laws of nature. Well, that's until the law of karma catches up with them. One such law is separating toxic binds. You can primp, prep, and collect 4-leaf clovers. But if you still are toxically bound to any other energy, be it a person, family, or a system, you will stay forever stuck in the force field of that toxicity. And you will only see toxicity in your life. As you all know, I was a church girl growing up. Every weekend we had to take ourselves to church because my father was the church enforcer. And since we moved into a lily-white neighborhood, he felt like most justice warrior types that my siblings and I should see more black people. What I did see was foolishness and corruption. I saw poverty-stricken families and wealthy pastors. One such pastor wiped out our children's ministry and said the money would go to renovate the church. One member, a no-nonsense older church lady, decided to investigate because we did not see these renovations. And at the time, her grandchild benefited from the children's after-school ministries, which was a godsend to young moms who were members but who needed affordable daycare. Our retired members initiated the program. Many of these older members had granddaughters who were having kids way too early, and instead of squashing teenage pregnancy, they created this ministry. Okay, back to this inquisitive church member. She, like all of us, is listening to this boastful blowhard literally tell us that the church needs renovations while the children's ministry must take a back seat. While the congregation is just nodding their heads, this older member gets up in church, in a black church, and says, "Pastor, we need this aftercare program." What do the children do? Many women have to go to work. This man looked this woman in the face and said, "God will find a way." So I turned to my father and asked, wasn't God's way for the children to build this children's aftercare program? My father answers, "Shh, let the pastor lead his flock. This sister is always talking out of turn." I remember thinking, that's some bullshit. So we hear that this woman, this brave elderly church member, goes to the town city hall to see if a work ordinance was created for the leaking roof in the sanctuary, the flooding basement, and all the repairs this pastor claims was going to get done. Nothing. Months go by, years go by, no aftercare program, but no church upgrades, and this elderly member decides to confront the pastor on Facebook. She announced that the pastor of such and such church is a charlatan, and that the conference overseeing the church must look into where that money is going. Believe it or not, the older member got death threats. Yes, death threats for voicing her concerns. Now I'm a young adult watching this, and I'm intrigued. This pastor, a flaming self-diagnosed narcissist and proud to tell you so, lied to his congregation, and instead of siding with a long-standing church member, the other members sent her death threats instead. So I say to myself, this pastor has now created a cult within this church. There were other such weird events, but I packed up myself and I left. Till this day, if I see a cult, I walk the other way. I never looked back unless it was to help a good friend with church productions, since I'm in media. It was just another paid job. My energy, my bind, the chain linking me to that toxicity has been broken. I no longer need to be there to worship. It was like a weight got taken off. I used to get severe anxiety walking into that church, like full-blown panic attacks, and that's a problem. No one should get a panic attack in a loving place. I'm not saying you go to your mosque, church, or temple and chuck up the deuces, but look at the toxicity around you. How do you feel around certain people, certain groups? How do you really feel after watching that video? Are you enlightened by the exchange? Do you feel brighter by the exchange? Your soul knows. A good friend, a celebrated artist, knows all about sensing. She's a highly intuitive person. I remember visiting her at this new studio she rented at this Upper East Side loft. I was hoping to see a chipper, happy person. Instead, I was greeted with a huge frown on her face. I ask her what's wrong. She says, it's just not. This place is a no. She said she couldn't even paint. The place was sucking her energy. But she took it because her husband got her the place when she was visiting her sick mom, and she didn't want to be ungrateful. I'm like, tell him this place is not it. Tell him it's messing up your drive to paint. After much deliberation, she mentions to her husband that the place isn't working energy-wise, and he breaks the lease, and they both look for a new place together. She finds one with long bay windows and creamy white-colored walls to throw her creations on. It's like a gallery in and of itself, where she can both save money and show her work at the studio. Toxic binds are powerful, so powerful that many of us become addicted to the toxicity, so much so that we sabotage and bring chaos and mayhem just to feel normal. You can't manifest, create, or build on a toxic bind. You have to break the chain in order to live the life of your dreams. There are steps to this, however. You don't just break a chain without first knowing that you are safe, that the creator that made you, this universe, has got your back. While I'm no longer a consistent church member, I know that the universe wasn't created by nothingness. The earth was nothing for billions of years, and whether it happened by evolution or a gray-haired white god who breathed life into this dude named Adam is not for me to discuss here. But nothing comes from nothing. Something comes from something. The star systems, all the way down to our circulatory system, is in step with one another. The moon even heralds in our womanly cycles. Something has to come from something. We are all systems. Remember the wealth handbook we talked about building an intact system? Well, this is what the creator did. You have to tap into that system, but you have to know you are safe to do so. You are safe in doing so, and you are safe in the process. So step 1, know that you are safe, that you are a beneficiary of the divine. It wants to give you everything you desire, because what you desire is your mission. Your mission can help someone or millions of people, or it can just help you and your family and the generations after. Be safe in building your desire into reality. Don't worry about the negativity around you. You have a force field of safety. You will be guided. If you take away all the muck and talk and chatter In the back of your mind, take away the buts and the what ifs. Take away doubt. Make this universe, this creator know that you are willing to be guided. Second, feel no fear. Face the task of building your dreams without the fear. Now I say this easily. I know you will literally feel fear, but let it go. Fear will tell you all types of things. Oh, I'm too dark-skinned, I'm too short, I'm too poor, I'm too chunky or skinny or not smart enough. I got glasses, I have 2 left feet. Just stop it. Stop the chatter and go. When you do that, it's now time to cut every toxic appendage in your life. Surgeons operate and take toxic things out of you. Be a spiritual and emotional surgeon. Like Sister Deanne Matthews says on her YouTube series, Bless, Block, and Change the Locks. We are a little bit more on the darker side, so we kind of take the bless part out. But you have to block and change the locks on toxicity. Get rid of it. You don't have to explain. You don't have to proclaim your departure. You are not an airport. Just block. When you do, you will feel the weight lifted. You will literally see in your real life the universe filling in the void with better. Third, what is your radical truth? What is the radical truth about yourself and your desires that you have been hiding from yourself? Deep down, what type of life do you really want to live? How do you find your radical truth? Siddha thought leaders say the secret to finding your deepest desires and your ultimate truth is to find out what you hate, what gets you so angry that you want to change it, and the opposite of that is what you desire. So, if you just hate struggling for money and it bothers you more than anything in your life, your true desire is for financial freedom. Your goal is to get financial freedom and wealth. A person not connected to their truth will start creating desires they think they want, but it usually turns out what society wants or what your parents or family wants. Do not make other people's goals your goals. Limiting beliefs will force you to stay safe in the safe zone. You cannot stay safe because remember, you already are safe. My aunt says that every success or positive life-changing moment that she has had in her life was when she worked by her intuition and instincts. This woman took a beat-up old building, created a need, and built a $7 million business. Many looking in say, oh, she's just lucky. Actually, she created the pathway for the opportunity to find her, therefore creating luck to carry her through. Work in spite of the fear. Know that you're safe to work in spite of the fear, and that you deserve the positive outcomes you are looking forward to achieve. 4. You have to know that you deserve the fruits of your labor. If not, your subconscious will sabotage the system you created, and inner doubts will cause outer disasters. Many women do not realize that what you really feel deep down can affect your material world in devastating ways. Step 5, get your journals. 5. It's time to get negative. Well, not really, but let's do some shadow work. Write down your negative traits and find a time in your childhood where your younger self created that negative habit. For example, Sally is a 35-year-old engineer who does not express what she is feeling at the workplace and in her close relationships. This negative habit leaves her doing work she does not want to do. People were disrespecting her boundaries, leaving her with resentment, but fearful of expressing herself. She grew tired of feeling this way, but in therapy, she learned a technique to eliminate the negative belief that caused this habit. The therapist asked her to state 3 of her most negative traits. Take the top negative trait that affected her the most and find a time before she was 10 that trait began. Sally remembered her mom always being rushed and bothered. Being a single mom, she had to work 2 jobs and long shifts to keep a roof over Sally and Maul, her siblings' head. She had no time to look at school drawings and cuddle or even listen. Looking back, I realized my mom's mind was always about the hustle. Sally remembers, it was never about joy. She was always trapped on a hamster wheel and died on that hamster wheel. I had to take myself through college and I worked hard like her. But now I'm tired, says Sally. Sally remembers taking the engineer job because she read it made the most money. But not only does she work harder than her mother, but due to her emotional neglect, she doesn't ask for help. With shadow work and therapy, she realized where her problems originated and how she could remedy it. Sally had to let go of her toxic bind to her mom. It's a type of worship because children see parents as the last authority, the ruler of us all, and they are only mere humans on equal footing like us. Our parents have faults and hurts and disappointments. When we realize they are not our gods, we can move on. Step 6. What do you worship? So many negative elements have laid a chokehold on Black women. Black women have gone through slavery, Jim Crow, and through that helped create the Black Renaissance. We have been through the feminism era, and even though it was our creation, white women got the credit. We went through and helped Black males in the civil rights movement, only to leave with egg on our faces. We created Black Lives Matter, only to find out the leaders of said movement put a bullseye on Black women's backs. We were the subject of rap songs. Talented dark-skinned actresses were not represented even in sepia films, leaving generations of Black women with low self-esteem. Black women have lost the right to claim their phenotype. They actually still practice giving it away to anyone they feel can come to the cookout. Our worst enemies are ourselves. Black women as a collective say they want better, but are addicted to worse, making it difficult for future allies to help them. Step 7. Do an inventory of what serves you and what doesn't. What do you worship? What do you really worship? How can you know that what you worship is not slowly destroying you? This is easy to assess if you are willing to be honest with yourself. Is your environment safe? Is your food safe? And can you prove it? Is your family members there for you if you are going through hardship? And if they are, do you feel uplifted in the process? What's the use of help if it's more degrading than not getting the help? Is your job fulfilling, or is it a job just to get by sort of thing? What are you worried about the most? A man? Be honest with yourself in this journal. Black women tell on themselves daily, especially in social media. We social media channels know what you collectively want to see and hear. That's why the most successful Black channels show addictive topics. Channels like ours force you to look at yourselves. That's why our audience are a rare breed. We have one more video that's still in research and interview mode for the GoodBye series. We would like to thank our true resetters for rocking with us for almost 3 years. We see and hear from resetters every day, and we are proud of the strides you have made. True resetters know that they have no time to waste fiddling with ne'er-do-wells, vampires, and narcissists. They know there's no club to join. They know they will get the information and go on and live their lives. We don't want you waxing and waning in our comment section unless you're going to tell us how your business made 1 million or how you manifested a healthier body, a worldwide travel excursion. We don't want you trauma bonding. We want you to worship a life of grandeur, opulence, and achievement, or simplicity, minimalism, and sacredness, whatever life you desire. There's no meetups or clubs because you are going to build your own family and subculture. You are a sovereign woman and there's no leader. We are women with knowledge to share. Then we throw you out of the nest. To live, so live, and don't get stuck. But if you do, Thought leader Joey Lott has some expert ways for you to get unstuck.
So why do people not have success in manifesting what they want? Well, obviously, first thing is they don't know what they want. So I've already tried to clear that up. You have to get clear about what you want. That's step number 1. Well, I guess step 0 would be you have to be clear that manifesting what you truly want is essential. Because if you're not on board with that, then you'll stay stuck and not actually take any steps. Okay, but then step 1 is you have to know what you want. And then step 2 is you have to consistently put your attention on that and in your imagination. Don't worry about what's happening externally, because what's happening externally is just the result of your old habit. But you want to form the new habit, which means you have to keep your attention internal on what you want in your imagination. Okay, so these are the fundamental steps. Accept that it's good to fulfill your true desire. Next step is get clear on what your true desire is. Next step is keep your attention on that. So most people fail because they don't do those things. I mean, that's just the truth. No question about it. But let's say you're doing all those things and you are still you're still struggling, whatever it is that you're wanting is still, you don't feel satisfied, you're still struggling in ways. Okay, well, now here's, the little known things that are holding you back. I will suggest to you that in some sense, all the polarities are connected. So all of them have a certain kind of, there's a relationship. Like all of them, there's a positive and a negative pole, and the positives and the negatives of all the poles kind of have a connection with one another in this sense, that if you hold on to the negative pole, to any negative pole, it will tie you down, weigh you down, and you will have a tendency to have your attention sucked back into the negative pole of the thing that you're not wanting, right? So you're wanting, in the example, love or abundance or whatever, health, and you're doing all this work every day, and hopefully you're seeing some progress, some improvement, but it's still, you're not feeling, it's not, you're stuck in some way. Well, here's very likely, if you're doing all the other things that I've talked about, very likely a big part of what's holding you back is that you're still stuck in some other negative polarity. And the mind likes to compartmentalize things, and it says, oh, well, what does that doesn't matter, who cares? It's like, so I want abundance. What does that have to do with me being resentful that my father was, treated me badly? What does that have to do with me feeling, victimized by my second grade teacher because they treated me unfairly? What does that have to do with whatever? The mind likes, like I say, likes to compartmentalize things and say, oh, it's that has nothing to do with it. Why pay attention to that? But what I'm telling you is that there's a linkage there. So the truth is, you cannot afford to hold on to those things, because it's like we'll use a metaphor of a car. You're wanting to drive your car somewhere. So you're putting your foot on the accelerator to take you to where you want to go. Great. You're doing all these other things. Wonderful. But you're putting your other foot very heavily on the brake when you're holding on to all these other things that are also negative polarities. So again, your mind says, oh, well, what does that have to do with anything? I just want financial abundance. How could that possibly be related to the resentments or grievances or blame or shame or regrets or guilt or all of these things? How could that possibly be related? Well, it is. And you can put it to the test and find out. So here's the deal. This will help you enormously no matter what. Like 11 years ago, I had just an enormous shift in my life. And I attribute it, A, entirely to divine grace, because that's always the truth, and B, to the fact that divine grace moved me to do what I'm about to tell you, which is forgive and let go of everything that hurts you, because you cannot afford to hold on to that stuff. So make a list of anything and everything where you have any kind of bad feeling about it at all, and every day go through that list and spend just a few minutes to let go, forgive, release, and heal that stuff. And you don't have to go through all of it because it's probably going to be a long list. I mean, for some of you, it will be a short list because you've already done a lot of the healing. But for some people, you'll be surprised. It's going to be a very long list. So you're not going to go through it all every day, but you could choose one, take a few minutes, right? And just say, look, whatever this is, whoever it is with, I don't want this hurt anymore. I let go, I forgive, I bless, I love, and I release it to the divine so that the divine can take care of it and bless everybody on their path of truth to their greatest good. May all beings be well. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be healthy. May all beings know love. Okay? Whoever it is, you've got some stuff there, with your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, your aunts, your uncles, your neighbors, your teachers, your friends, your enemies, your bosses, your employees, now, in the past, distant past, whatever. Just be willing to forgive and let go and bless and turn it over to the divine to take care of it in the best possible way. You don't want that burden any longer. And I promise you, if you do that sincerely, you will see huge changes. Huge changes. And you might see them very quickly. It might take a little while. It might take a few weeks before you start to see the changes. But if you do it consistently, sincerely, I promise you, I guarantee, you will see big changes. You will experience so much healing. Your life will become so much lighter, so much happier, so much freer. You'll know so much more peace. And the things that you want will come to you so much more easily. Because again, there's a connection there. If you're holding on to that negative stuff, no matter what domain it seems to be related to, and in your mind you say it is not related at all, it is. It just is. And just an important point here. This is not about saying that things that happened are great. Maybe that some things that happened are terrible. Maybe some people made some really bad choices. Maybe you made some really bad choices. But everything is forgivable. Everything. Doesn't mean you need to go be best friends with those people. It just means you cannot afford to hold on to that hurt anymore because it's just self-harm, holding on to that. So you can and must forgive, let go, and bless and turn it over to the divine, because it is the only way. Otherwise, you'll just continue to stay stuck. Again, I just want to be really clear. This is not about, you don't have to be best friends with the people. You don't have to say, oh, it's great what they did. You don't have to say what you did was great. If it was terrible, it was terrible. Okay. But just tell the truth. You don't want to hold on to that hurt any longer. It's like you are holding on to, you've tied yourself to a heavy stone and you're sinking to the bottom of the ocean. You need to cut that tie and release yourself, liberate yourself. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're going to just continue to be suffocating. So be willing to have the courage to let it go. And I'll add this. Be willing when you turn it over to the divine. So the divine here, however you understand it, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, but just accept this, to know that what I'm talking about is supreme good, supreme love, supreme intelligence. So you're just saying, look, this knows better than I do. I, meaning as my habitual limited identity, the habitual limited identity, which has been defined by all of these hurts, which has been defined by all of these grievances and resentments and so forth. So I'm turning it over to that greater intelligence, accepting that it knows exactly what is best for the greatest healing for all. And I surrender to that. I trust in that. I open to that. I allow that, because it can do anything. And then allow it to bring that healing. because it will if you allow it. If you ask and you allow, it will. But here's the thing. That willingness is so it requires so much honesty on your part. So be willing to be very honest. Again, because you want the healing, because you want to be done with the hurt, because you want to finally know the peace, freedom, happiness, harmony, love, and abundance that you're here to know, be, and have. I mean, it's just the truth, right? That's what you're here for. You're not here to suffer. So you can gift yourself that by being really deeply honest, turning it over to the divine. You ask, turn it over, and then be willing to receive. It just means then, when the opportunity presents itself, to open to the newness. When the newness is here, the newness is like, hey, here's genuine forgiveness. Like, your heart is being opened. Here's a fresh insight. Here's a fresh perspective. Here's a new way to see things. Here's a new memory. If you then go to no, well, guess what? Free will is operational always, so you get to do that, but you're only hurting yourself, right? Like, you've cut the tie to the sinking stone, and then you grab hold of it and tie it again. Don't do that. So the divine will answer your prayer if you ask sincerely, if you are willing to release, forgive, turn it over. Absolutely, it will be granted to you, but you have to be willing to accept it. And at that moment, just notice that hurt, that old hurt that says you should grab hold again, don't let go. And it will tell you, oh, you can't open to that because that would be wrong. You can't let go because that would be wrong. You have to hold on to this forever. Don't do it. Just let go, because you want to be free.